Okay, so this is the last forum for my internship experience throughout the 18 weeks. Just recapping back from the beginning to when I started to now, I think I had a lot of, I was given the opportunity to learn a lot about almost every area of athletic directory. From the beginning, I was able to work for Riverside County Education Academy, which is a lot smaller school than your typical high schools in the area, say Rancho Verde or Riverside Poly. It's really condensed and it's really different from your traditional schools. The school was primarily military based, a lot of discipline. However, with that disciplinary setting and environment, it there were some challenging components of that. Um, with that being said, in my own observation with just the athletes, student athletes that participate in athletics, there wasn't a lot of discipline. Um, Not to say we didn't have talented athletes, but you can tell that, like for me, for example, I started off when I was 7 years old, so I was able to grow with the sport and learn about determination and the discipline. But from just jumping right in and just having students that really didn't have a background of athletics, a lot of majority of the students just did it because they love watching on sports on Sports Central or ESPN. They just wanted to be a part of something, so it was really hard to instill motivation and that type of determination and discipline to students that really weren't acclimated with athletics. As like I said, just using me for example, that just had that background from the get-go and learned from a young age. Another thing was you don't have a lot of room for error dealing with a small school. Budgeting is really short, is really limited, so you don't have a lot to work with. Um, a good thing about it is I got to learn about transportation rules and regulations this week. For the final week, I'll be learning about the hiring process, and we'll be going through some of the regulations for hiring. Probably, probably get to sit in on a couple of interviews for the upcoming football season. Another thing is the school that I work for, interned with, they didn't have a track program, so I wasn't able to see the operations in the background of directory for track, unlike some other bigger schools that have multiple sports. Another good thing that I got to do was network with additional athletic directors for schools that we competed against. Um, Another negative thing was the softball season ended kind of early, so I wasn't able to see the full aspect of all of that and how that worked out due to some disciplinary issues with athletes. So we basically got kicked out of the running for the championships because of players' attitudes and going back to the beginning when I said about athletes just holding that sportsmanship and discipline just from having a background from it. When compared to younger athletes that start at a younger age. Another good experience that I was able to do was able to go back to my alumni and speak with my athletic director that was there when I graduated, Don Baki, and being able to sit down and speak about recruiting, how that works for major universities with my former track coach. But overall, it was a really good experience. I think I wouldn't change anything just because now I know what a small school needs and what large school needs, only because I have worked with a larger high school before. So I know both environments and what's limited to certain side when it comes to certain sides of the schools that you work with. But it was a great experience overall. I have one more week, and like I said, I'll be dealing with hiring process, and everything it was a phenomenal experience that I wouldn't change.